Oregon's rivers are some of our state's greatest resources, and the native fish species that grace these waters are vital members of this ecosystem. For the past half-century, their populations have dramatically declined. But what will happen in the next 50 years? On the South Fork of the McKenzie River, a towering construction project hopes to revitalize these populations and bring native fish back to Oregon's rivers. In the early 1960s, the construction of the Cougar Dam on the South Fork of the McKenzie River was nearing completion. And like the other 12 dams in the Willamette Valley project, its goal was to produce hydroelectricity while providing flood control. It was enormously successful in both, especially in protecting Oregon cities from disastrous floodwaters caused by springtime rain and snowmelt. However, nobody could foresee that the dam would disrupt the legacy of wild fish in the Northwest.
Fish and humans have coexisted in the Pacific Northwest for thousands of years. Humans have used fish for food, for commerce, for recreation. They're very important to us. The temperature control project will allow us to increase the productivity of those fish, restoring habitat that has been lost due to our need for power and flood control.
During the initial design and construction of most Northwest dams, engineers overlooked native fish populations. When Cougar Dam began operation in 1964, biologists discovered an unforeseen environmental consequence: thermal pollution. The once warm and habitable South Fork was transformed into an icy stream.
The water temperature coming out of the base of the dam was so cold during the spring and summer months, which is the time that spring chinook migrate up into the upper basin, that they would not even enter the South Fork McKenzie River. And so we went from thousands of fish coming back to the South Fork to a few hundred, if that.
In 1980, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers began to develop a plan to modify the intake tower at Cougar Reservoir.
Right now, the intake tower draws the water from its base, and the water is cold. We're going to add on new control systems that will allow us to draw water from a wide variety of elevations in the reservoir pool. And that will allow us to select water temperatures and mix water to achieve downstream temperature objectives.
In 1999, construction began on the Cougar Temperature Control Project, a $52 million effort to resolve the problem of thermal pollution. The Army Corps set out to retrofit the dam's original intake tower and add gates that raise and lower to draw water of different temperatures from different depths. Before construction could begin on the intake tower, the Corps worked for 2.5 years preparing the diversion tunnel to drain Cougar Reservoir and expose the construction site.
The South Fork McKenzie was routed through the diversion tunnel while Cougar Dam was constructed. In order to build the intake tower, we had to reopen that diversion tunnel to essentially use it to drain the lake so we could get in behind the dam and construct the intake tower. As we neared completion of construction of the diversion tunnel, we needed to remove the 30-foot concrete plug that was holding back the reservoir. We were confident, but this really was the first or second drawdown of a high-head reservoir, and this tunnel tap and removal of the plug really was highly specialized. We had the best blasting consultants in the United States and the best blasting consultants in Canada that gave us guidance on actually removing the plug.
With the reservoir drained, construction began on the intake tower. The project is a first-of-its-kind wonder of science and technology. It is the first time an existing intake tower has ever been retrofitted for temperature control. At over 350 feet tall, the Cougar Temperature Control Project is a grand monument to restoring fish habitat.
The actual construction of the tower was exciting because of the heights. I mean, we started low, but we're building, you know, first you're 20 feet, 40 feet, 80 feet, 100 feet, 150, 200. So You know, when you climb down or access through the man basket or whatever method we were using at the various heights, you know, it got your attention.
Another challenge that got workers' attention was the handling of explosives and removing the temporary cofferdam, which kept Cougar Reservoir out of the construction site.
Well, there's an element of danger involved with it. You're handling explosives. Wow, I felt like when I was a kid playing with firecrackers again. You know, it's hard to describe the project. I had a digital camera, so I'm able to take pictures almost continuously or constantly throughout the day and throughout the project and accumulate that record. So one of the things I've done is if I catch a worker or a crewman doing something that's amazing and I get a nice shot of it on camera, then I print copies for them and I'll drop them in their truck. And then later they'll say, Larry, that was just awesome, because there's just no way to describe this to my wife or kids or dad or mom. We had a concrete pump truck out here with a 57-meter boom. It's 3 in the morning and it's starting to snow. It's dark and it's just so much activity going on and that you're a part of it. I think that's very rewarding.
When Cougar Reservoir fills with winter rains and the control tower begins operation, it will be up to the fish to return to the South Fork.
The Mackenzie happens to be the last remaining stronghold in the entire Willamette Basin for spring Chinook salmon and bull trout. Being able to utilize the upper South Fork of the Mackenzie River for production for bull trout and spring Chinook salmon will increase the effectiveness of those populations to persist over time.
Cougar Tower's unique design holds the promise of repairing other Northwest rivers that suffer from thermal pollution. The determination to restore these rivers shows the value Oregonians place on the environment. Perhaps the value no one expected to find was the importance of biologists, construction workers, and engineers working together for Oregon's future.